Take a deep breath. Close your eyes for a moment and feel your heartbeat. That gentle rhythm inside you is not just a sign of life. It is the universe reminding you that you are more your thoughts, more than your fears, and far more powerful than the story your mind tells. You are not what you think you are. You are what you believe, what you feel, and what you choose to become. Every thought you have is simply energy passing through the landscape of your mind. It rises, takes shape, and then fades, much like a cloud drifting across a vast blue sky. Some thoughts are heavy, filled with fear, doubt, or judgment. Others are light and radiant, full of love, faith, and peace. But here's the beautiful truth: none of them define you. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes them, the consciousness that notices their movement, and the soul that decides which ones to believe. From the moment we wake up, thoughts begin to flow. What do I have to do today? Will things work out for me? Am I good enough? For most of us, these thoughts seem automatic, like an endless river that never stops running. But when we live unconsciously, we start to identify with every passing thought. We believe that because we think it, it must be true. If the mind says, "You're not smart enough," we feel small. If it whispers, "You're too late to change," we give up before we even begin. Yet your mind is only a tool, a magnificent instrument meant to serve you, not rule you. The real you, the eternal you, is the observer behind the mind. You are the one who hears the thought, "I can't do this," and decides, "Yes, I can." You are the presence that can step back and notice the stories your mind tells. Stories shaped by fear, past experiences, and other people's opinions. Once you realize that, everything changes. Imagine your thoughts as guests entering a house, your mind being the doorway. Some guests arrive with gifts of joy and inspiration. Others bring worries and self-doubt. You don't have to let every guest stay. You have the right to open the door, smile, and say, "No, thank you." You can choose who remains and who leaves. This is the quiet power of awareness. The power to choose which thoughts to entertain and which to release. When you stop identifying with your thoughts, a new kind of freedom appears. You no longer have to fight the mind or silence it. You simply watch it, knowing it cannot touch who you truly are. The voice in your head might say, "I'm not worthy of love," but the deeper part of you, the soul, smiles gently and whispers, "That is not true. You are worthy. Always have been and always will be." It's important to remember that thoughts often come conditioning. From childhood, we absorbed words and beliefs from parents, teachers, and society. If we were told we must always please others to be accepted, our mind repeats that pattern. If we were told success means struggle, the mind echoes it as truth. But these are only learned ideas, not universal truths. They can be unlearned, rewritten, and replaced. You have the power to teach your mind new, loving ways to think. When a negative thought arises, don't fight it. Acknowledge it softly. Say to yourself, "This is only a thought, and I have the power to choose another one." Then replace it with something uplifting. For example, if the thought says, "I'm so behind in life," answer it with, "I am exactly where I need to be, and my timing is perfect." The more often you do this, the more mind begins to mirror your higher truth. Over time, this awareness turns into peace. You start noticing that the mind's noise doesn't control your emotions anymore. You can experience a stressful situation and still feel centered because you understand you are not the thought reacting. You are the calm observer watching it all unfold. This is true power. Every time you choose to rise above a negative thought, you raise your vibration. You begin to think thoughts of love, confidence, and abundance. And the universe, always listening, begins to mirror that energy back to you. Life becomes softer, more supportive, and beautifully aligned. So the next time your mind tries to convince you that you are small, broken, or powerless, take a deep breath and remember, you are none of those things. You are not the story your thoughts tell. You are the awareness that holds the story, the light that shines through every word, and the infinite being who can choose a new story at any moment. When you understand this, your relationship with your mind transforms completely. You stop fearing your thoughts and start guiding them with love. You learn to use your mind as a creative tool rather than a cage. And in that shift, you discover the truth has been waiting all along. You are not what you think you are. You are something far greater. A limitless soul having a temporary human experience, learning each day to think, speak, and live from love. There is a quiet space within you, a space that has never been touched by fear, worry, or doubt. It exists beyond the noise of your mind, beyond your past, and beyond all the labels you've given yourself. That sacred stillness is your true self. It is the awareness behind your thoughts, the silent watcher that observes everything without judgment. When you begin to rest in that awareness, you start to realize that you are not your mind, you are not your emotions, and you are certainly not your problems. You are the calm presence witnessing it all. Throughout the day, thousands of thoughts pass through your mind. Some make you feel hopeful, others make you feel anxious. Yet there is something constant that remains untouched by those shifts, that unchanging observer within you. It's the same awareness that noticed your thoughts as a child, that watches them now, and that will still be there decades from today. Thoughts come and go like waves, but awareness is the vast ocean beneath them. Most people spend their lives trapped in their minds, believing that every thought that appears must be real. If the mind says, "I'm not good enough," they feel unworthy. If it says, "Nothing will ever work out for me," they lose faith. But the moment you realize that you are the awareness noticing those thoughts, everything changes. Suddenly, the mind loses its control. You start to see that a thought is just energy, a pattern, not a truth. You have the power to decide whether to believe it or let it pass. This realization is the beginning of true freedom. When you identify with your thoughts, life feels heavy and chaotic because you are constantly reacting to every mental story. But when you identify with awareness, life slows down. You begin to respond with calmness instead of reacting with fear. You start to listen more deeply, to observe more gently, and to live more peacefully. You begin to realize that your worth does not depend on what the mind says. Your worth is intrinsic. It was never lost, only forgotten under layers of thinking. Imagine sitting beside a river. The water represents your thoughts, constantly flowing, changing, moving. Some parts are calm, some are wild. But all of it keeps passing. You are not the river, you are the one sitting on the bank, watching it flow. You can dip your hand into the water, but you are not swept away unless you choose to be. That is what awareness feels like. Peaceful observation without attachment. When you start to live from this awareness, challenges no longer break you. You may still experience pain, confusion, or loss, but you begin to notice a part of you that remains untouched. That part knows that every situation is temporary, that every storm passes, and that you have the strength to rise again. Awareness is the anchor that holds you steady no matter how fierce the waves become. The beauty of awareness is that it doesn't need effort. It only needs recognition. You don't have to search for it. It's already there, quietly observing even now. You can access it through presence, by pausing, breathing deeply, and simply noticing what is happening within you. When you become aware of your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judging them, You are reconnecting with that deeper intelligence that has always been guiding you. When you rest in awareness, even ordinary moments become sacred. The sound of your breath, the warmth of the sunlight, the beating of your heart. Everything feels alive and purposeful. You stop rushing. You stop trying to control everything. Instead, you begin to trust the flow of life, knowing that awareness itself is wisdom. It knows when to act and when to be still. It knows that all experiences, even the painful ones, are here to teach you something essential. From this place of awareness, love naturally arises. Compassion grows not only for others but for yourself. You no longer fight your mind or your emotions. You simply see them for what they are. Temporary expressions of energy. You can look at your fear and say, "I see you." You can notice your sadness and whisper, "You are allowed to be here, but you are not who I am." And with that simple recognition, healing begins. Awareness does not seek to change the world. It transforms it by the way it sees. It allows you to experience life fully without being imprisoned by thought. It reminds you that you are not the voice in your head, but the silence that listens. And that silence is infinite, vast, eternal, and free. So whenever you feel lost, return to that quiet space within. Take a deep breath, let your thoughts drift by, and remember, you are not the thinker. You are the awareness behind the thoughts, the witness, the light, the unshockable stillness that has been there all along, patiently waiting for you to remember who you truly are. Every thought you think carries energy. Each one sends out a vibration that shapes how you feel, how you act, and what you attract. Most people don't realize that their thoughts are not random. They are choices, even when they seem automatic. You may not always choose the first thought that appears, but you can always choose what to do with it. You have the power to focus on it, release it, replace it, or transform it. This power of choice is the foundation of a conscious life. Every morning, your mind begins to speak before you even open your eyes. It might say, "I'm tired," or "I have so much to do," or "I can't wait for today." Each of those statements begins to set the emotional tone for your day. If you listen unconsciously, you might start to feel exactly what that thought suggested. But when you become aware, you can pause and decide what kind of day you want to create. You can choose a thought that lifts you higher. You can say, "Today is a fresh start. I'm grateful to be alive. Something wonderful is on its way to me." That single shift in thinking changes your energy completely. Every thought you think is like a seed planted in the garden of your mind. Whatever you plant, you will harvest. If you plant worry, you will grow more situations that make you worry. If you plant peace, you will attract experiences that bring peace. The soil of your mind does not judge. It simply gives life to whatever you sow. This is why awareness is so important. You cannot stop thoughts from appearing, but you can stop feeding the ones that drain your spirit. Think about how often you choose your clothes, your meals, or your words carefully, yet how rarely you choose your thoughts with the same care. You may not realize it, but your thoughts create the emotional weather of your life. They determine how you see yourself, how you treat others, and how others respond to you. When you choose thoughts of love, you begin to radiate warmth and kindness. When you choose thoughts of resentment, that energy returns to you like a shadow. The beauty of being human is that you have the freedom to choose again at any moment. Even if you've spent years believing negative stories about yourself, you can decide right now to change them. You can say, "I release all thoughts that do not serve me. I choose to think thoughts that heal, uplift, and inspire." And as you practice this, your inner dialogue begins to soften. The mind starts to work with you instead of against you. Choosing your thoughts doesn't mean forcing yourself to be positive all the time. It means becoming aware of what's happening inside you and responding with kindness. When a painful thought arises, don't judge it. Notice it, breathe, and choose again. Ask yourself, does this thought help me grow? Does it bring me peace? If the answer is no, you have permission to let it go. You are not rejecting reality. You are choosing to align with a higher one. It takes practice to shift your inner language. For years, you may have thought from a place of fear, guilt, or limitation. But every time you replace a fearful thought with a loving one, you rewire your mind. You begin to move from reaction to creation. That is the essence of empowerment. The more consciously you choose, the more peaceful and purposeful your life becomes. When you start to think differently, your outer world begins to rearrange itself. People respond to your energy in new ways. Opportunities begin to appear that match your higher vibration. What once felt impossible starts to flow effortlessly. This is not magic. It's the natural response of the universe to your chosen frequency. You are never powerless, no matter what your circumstances look like. The greatest freedom you will ever experience is the ability to choose your next thought. When you remember this, no situation can control you. You may not be able to change everything around you instantly, but you can always change what you focus on inside. So, in every moment, ask yourself, what thought am I choosing right now? If it fills you with peace, continue to nurture it. If it drains your energy, thank it for showing you where you still need healing, and let it pass. You are the thinker, not the thought. You are the one who decides what stays and what goes. The world around you will begin to mirror the thoughts you hold most often. When you think with love, your life will expand with love. When you think with gratitude, your life will overflow with blessings. Every thought is a choice, a doorway leading either toward freedom or toward limitation. Choose wisely, choose gently, and choose in alignment with the truth of who you are. Each thought is a step in the direction of your destiny. There comes a moment in every life when you must decide to stop carrying the old story, the one that tells you who hurt you, what went wrong, and why things never worked out the way you hoped. That story may have protected you once, helped you make sense of pain, and given shape to your suffering. But there comes a time when you realize that holding on to it only keeps you chained to the past. The old story is heavy, and you cannot walk into a new life while dragging the weight of what used to be. The truth is, your past is not your prison, it's your teacher. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every disappointment came to show you something about your strength, your boundaries, and your worth. But you cannot learn from those lessons if you keep repeating them to yourself. Every time you replay the same memories and tell the same story of loss or failure, you breathe new life into it. You relive the emotion, reopen the wound, and stay stuck in a pattern that no longer serves you. Releasing the old story doesn't mean pretending it never happened. It means seeing it through new eyes, with understanding, compassion, and grace. It means realizing that you did the best you could with the awareness you had at the time. It means forgiving yourself for not knowing what you know now. The moment you stop identifying with the pain and start identifying with the wisdom it gave you, healing begins. Many people hold on to their old stories because they believe that without them, they won't know who they are. They've built an identity around their wounds. I'm the one who was abandoned. I'm the one who was betrayed. I'm the one who never gets chosen. But you are not those experiences. They were chapters, not definitions. You are the consciousness that lived through them, the light that continues to shine despite them. Once you understand this, You can thank the old story for what it taught you and gently let it go. Letting go begins with awareness. Notice how often your mind returns to the past, how it clings to memories that no longer belong to the present moment. Notice how you speak about your life. The words you use shape the reality you live in. If you keep saying, "Nothing ever works out for me," the universe mirrors that belief back to you. But if you begin to say, "I am open to new possibilities," everything starts to shift. You become magnetic to fresh experiences, new people, and better opportunities. To release the old story, you must be willing to stop blaming, not only others but also yourself. Blame keeps you bound to the energy of the past. Forgiveness, on the other hand, sets you free. Forgiveness does not mean that what happened was right. It means you are no longer willing to let it poison your peace. You stop waiting for closure from others and give it to yourself. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start saying, "What did this teach me?" The moment you shift from victimhood to authorship, everything changes. You begin to see that the pen has always been in your hand. You can write a new story, one where you are empowered, healed, and guided by love. You can decide that your past will not define your future. You can choose to remember that every ending was preparing you for a greater beginning. Releasing the old story is not a one-time act, it's a daily choice. Each time an old memory surfaces, meet it with compassion instead of judgment. Say to yourself, "That was then. This is now." Breathe deeply and allow the emotion to pass through you instead of clinging to it. The more you practice this, the lighter you become. The old story loses its hold, and a new chapter naturally begins to write itself. And in that new story, you are no longer someone trying to survive. You are someone learning to thrive. You start to trust life again, to believe in love again, and to open your heart to what's waiting for you. You begin to understand that you were never broken, only growing. The universe has been guiding you all along, patiently waiting for you to put down the weight of what was, so your hands can be free to receive what's next. So take a deep breath and whisper to yourself, "I am ready to release the old story. I am ready to forgive, to rise, and to begin again." The past has done its part. Now it's time to write a new one filled with peace, power, and purpose. Because you are not your pain, you are the author of your healing. There is a way of seeing yourself that changes everything. It is not through the eyes of fear, not through the mirror of judgment, and not through the memories of the past. It is through the eyes of the universe. Clear, loving, infinite. When you begin to see yourself as the universe sees you, your entire perception of life transforms. You stop chasing validation, you stop doubting your worth, and you begin to live in harmony with your own divine nature. The universe sees no mistakes in you. It does not measure your value by your achievements or your flaws. It only knows your light, the energy that existed long before your first breath and will continue long after your last. The universe doesn't look at you and see failure, it sees potential. It doesn't see weakness, it sees growth in motion. Every challenge you've faced, every heartbreak you've endured has been part of your expansion. From a higher view, nothing about your journey has been wasted. Yet so often, you see yourself through the eyes of limitation. You replay old mistakes and call them identity. You look at your reflection and see imperfection instead of beauty. You compare yourself to others and forget that your path was never meant to look like theirs. But the universe never compares. It celebrates the uniqueness of every soul, like stars in the sky, each one shining with its own brilliance, yet all part of the same vast creation. Seeing yourself as the universe sees you means remembering that you were born worthy. You were not sent here to prove your value, but to express it. You were not born to earn love, but to realize that love already flows through you. The moment you start treating yourself with the same kindness that the universe offers you every day, your life begins to align with peace. The right people appear, the right opportunities unfold, and life starts working with you instead of against you. This change begins within. It starts when you catch yourself speaking harshly to your own heart and choose to stop. It begins when you look in the mirror and say, "I am enough, exactly as I am." That single statement echoes through the energy of creation, because every loving thought you think about yourself is an act of alignment with the universe's truth. Every time you forgive yourself, you match the frequency of divine compassion. Every time you believe in yourself, you mirror the faith the universe has in you. You may not see it, but you are surrounded by guidance every day. Subtle nudges, intuitive whispers, moments of grace that remind you that you are never alone. The universe speaks through those signs, not to criticize or correct, but to encourage you back toward love. It sees the best version of you even when you can't see it yourself. It knows that under every fear lies courage, under every wound lies wisdom, and under every shadow lies light waiting to be remembered. When you begin to see yourself this way, you stop rushing. You trust that your timing is perfect. You stop comparing your path, because you understand that divine order is always at work. You begin to walk with peace, because you realize that everything unfolding in your life is part of your soul's design. The universe is not testing you. It is growing you. Seeing yourself through this higher lens doesn't make you arrogant. It makes you humble. Because when you truly see your divine nature, you also recognize it in others. You stop judging, stop blaming, stop competing. You start to understand that every soul is on its own journey back to remembrance. The remembrance that we are all one. There is great power in loving yourself the way creation loves you. You are not meant to shrink into your fears or hide behind self-doubt. You are meant to stand tall as a reflection of divine energy, peaceful, radiant, and alive. The moment you accept yourself completely, you become a mirror through which others can see their own light. You become a living expression of love itself. So take a moment to breathe deeply. Feel the life flowing through you, the same energy that moves the stars, the oceans, and the wind. That energy is what you are made of. And when you finally see yourself as the universe sees you, whole, powerful, and already complete, your life begins to mirror that truth. Everything that once seemed impossible begins to unfold naturally, because the universe has never stopped believing in you. It has only been waiting for you to believe in yourself. There comes a time when you must rise and remember who you truly are. A creator, not a victim of life. For too long, you may have believed that the world was happening to you, that people, circumstances, or fate had the power to decide how your story unfolds. But deep within you is a spark of divine intelligence. The same energy that moves the stars, grows the trees, and breathes through every living thing. That energy is creative, not passive. It responds to your focus, your vibration, and your belief. You are not powerless. You are shaping your world with every thought you think, every emotion you feel, and every word you speak. Being a creator means taking responsibility for your inner world. It means realizing that your emotions are not random. They are indicators of what you are creating. When you dwell in thoughts of anger, fear, or lack, you begin to attract more of that same energy. When you shift toward gratitude, hope, and self-love, you open the door for new possibilities to flow in. Life does not punish or reward you, it simply mirrors what you hold within. The moment you understand this truth, you stop waiting for others to change, and you begin to change yourself. It is easy to feel like a victim when things fall apart. when people leave, when plans fail, when you face loss or betrayal. Your mind tries to convince you that life is unfair. But even in those moments, creation is at work. Every ending is preparing the ground for a beginning you cannot yet see. Every loss removes what is no longer aligned with your higher path. The universe never takes without the intention to replace it with something better. But if you keep seeing yourself as a victim, you close your heart to what is trying to come in. You were never meant to live in reaction. You were meant to live in creation. A creator doesn't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" A creator asks, "What is this teaching me? What do I want to create from here?" This shift in mindset turns pain into power and chaos into clarity. You start to realize that you are never truly stuck. You are only as limited as your thoughts allow. Every time you choose a loving thought over a fearful one, you are reclaiming your creative power. Every time you forgive instead of resent, you raise your vibration. Every time you speak words of faith instead of doubt, you align with the energy of miracles. You don't need to control the world. You only need to master your inner state. When your inner world is peaceful, the outer world begins to reflect that peace back to you in ways that feel like magic. Creation begins with imagination. Whatever you can envision with love and faith, you can bring into form. The universe listens to the energy behind your words and feelings. When you say, "I am worthy of love," you send a clear signal to life, and it responds. When you say, "Nothing ever works out for me," life responds to that too. The universe is neutral. It simply reflects your dominant vibration. You are the artist, and your beliefs are the brushstrokes painting the canvas of your reality. Being a creator also means releasing blame. You stop pointing fingers and start looking inward. You stop saying, "They ruined my peace," and start asking, "Why did I give them that power?" You stop defining yourself by what happened and start focusing on what you're creating next. This doesn't mean denying pain. It means transforming it. It means taking what hurt you and turning it into wisdom, compassion, and strength. When you rise into your role as a conscious creator, you begin to walk differently. You trust that every step, even the uncertain ones, is part of a greater unfolding. You stop begging life for mercy and start co-creating with it. You start saying, "I am not a victim of my past. I am a creator of my future." And the universe, hearing that declaration, begins to rearrange itself in your favor. So breathe deeply and remember your power. You are not at the mercy of life. You are the one giving it direction through your focus and faith. Your energy creates worlds. Your words shape timelines. Every thought, every feeling, every choice sends ripples through creation. The moment you stop seeing yourself as a victim and start living as a creator, you awaken the divine force within you. And when you live from that truth, nothing outside you can ever hold you down again.